Luxury cars have made huge progress, and there's never been a better time to buy one. Finding a new or used luxury car isn't a hard task due to their high turnover rate, with owners generally trading them in every 3 years for a newer updated model. As a result, the luxury car marketplace is very saturated, with hundreds of different models released over the past few decades. Unfortunately, many of these models were of substandard quality, and often never reach 10,000 miles without breaking down. There are many luxury car models that should be avoided at all costs, due to quality, reliability, and safety issues. One way to shorten your list of options is to understand which luxury cars to avoid. So here are the 7 worst luxury cars only stupid people buy. The Mercedes-Maybach GLS. A 555 horsepower SUV that costs a whopping $162,000, and from a brand that Jay-Z raps about. The 111-year-old Maybach brand heritage is ripe for leveraging to customers who love automotive nostalgia done right. Finally, we thought something to compete directly against the really excellent Rolls-Royce Cullinan and Bentley Bentayga. Boy, were we wrong. The Mercedes-Maybach GLS falls into the unfortunate middle ground of neither fast nor truly elegant. It's far slower than the 750 horsepower, $219,000 Lamborghini Yaris, and not as old-world stately as the Cullinan. Sure, the first ever SUV from Mercedes-Maybach has a driving style as smooth as duck butter, and an elegant, technologically advanced interior that can feel alternatively like a spa or a nightclub. But so does the wonderful, more discreet Mercedes-Maybach S-Class sedan. In fact, once inside this SUV, many people forget that they're even in anything more special than an S-Class, until their eye catches one of those Maybach logos emblazoned on the car. The sad truth about the Mercedes-Benz Maybach GLS is that you have to have a bunch of logos to remind you that this car is special, when it really isn't. Also, the exterior of this SUV has been nuked from high orbit on social media for looking decidedly not special, with comparisons to Volvos and other less priced vehicles. With seating for only 4 in the most luxurious variant of the vehicle, despite its massive size, many wondered why, when the cooler S-Class already exists, why anyone would buy this vehicle in the first place. The BMW 3 Series. The BMW 3 Series has always been a reasonable way to get into a BMW for the first time, and while the car is an excellent budget performer, this car rarely makes it past 10,000 miles. For starters, the early 2000 models were notoriously unreliable, with an engine that's known to blow head gaskets and overheat, creating a car that's simply undrivable. The 3 Series' crash test also highlighted major fatal shortcomings. During the test, the side torso airbag failed to deploy, and the side curtain airbags didn't have sufficient forward coverage to protect the head from contact with the side structure and outside objects. Meanwhile, the car's footrest ended up hitting the driver, which would cause injuries to the ankle, the heel, and the lower right leg. So if safety is a top priority, the 3 Series should not be on your list. The Audi A6. The 2020 Audi A6 is one of the least reliable luxury cars on earth, and it fell way short of expectations according to Consumer Reports. With this high price range ranging from $55,000 to $74,000, the Audi A6 just isn't really worth it, particularly when you take into account the amazing 1 out of 5-star reliability rating. For starters, a failing gearbox is quite common with the A6, and usually shows up with a tightness or grinding noise coming from the steering wheel. If caught in time, it's possible to reprogram the gearbox without having to buy a new one. But most of the time you'll end up paying $10,000 or more for a new transmission. Other common problems include increased oil usage, timing chain issues resulting in complete destruction of your engine, a broken air conditioner that leaves a musty smell while driving, and a damaged flywheel resulting in a shaky clutch pedal, failing electronics, and complete transmission failure occurring at high speeds. The Mercedes-Benz C-Class. The Mercedes-Benz C-Class has always been an entry-level trim to get into if you wanted a brand new Mercedes. Unfortunately, not only does this luxury car rarely make it past 10,000 miles, but it could also prove to be deadly. The Mercedes-Benz C-Class was given a score poor in its small overlap frontal crash test. Neither the side curtain nor side torso airbags deployed in the test, and the dummy's foot was stuck beneath the brake pedal. It performed so poorly that the pedal had to be cut off to free the foot. The crash test also found that the seatbelt allowed for too much forward movement, with the head at the risk of hitting the A-pillar, which is the vertical support near the driver's seat. And to top it all off, the C-Class isn't the most reliable car either. The main gripe with this small luxury sedan is the transmission failing, as well as unexpected overheating resulting in engine fires, often causing the car to break down at 10,000 miles. And repair costs can rack up quickly, making the C-Class a mistake of epic proportions. Range Rover. For anyone who has ever had a brush with a Land Rover, you probably already have an idea of where we're going with this one. The Range Rover, along with the Discovery, is one of the most effective of the Land Rover lineup. The latest model of the Range Rover has a 50% reliability rating, on average. That may come to a shock to anyone who may have noticed that the Range Rover has been around for quite some time. It's a relatively popular SUV in spite of its $100,000 price tag, though much of the buzz around the Range Rover is predominantly hype. Much of the mechanical faults, recalls, and engine failure has existed for several generations of the Range Rover. When Ford acquired Land Rover in 2006, they decided to use Jaguar engines in their vehicles, which didn't help Range Rover much, if at all. The Tesla Model S. The famed Tesla brand has had a few hiccups in its sales over the past few years, partly because many of the features that were once options are now standard, which means the mechanical engineering is a bit more complex. Originally, the Model S came with the option of all-wheel drive and air suspension upgrades. Since these characteristics are now standard, this means the engineering process for each and every Model S is more complex than, say, a wheel-wheel drive or leaf spring suspension. Plus, we can't ignore the fact that all of Tesla's vehicles are meant to be state-of-the-art, with high-tech functions to bring in modern-minded buyers. However, all of these cool and hip features can come at a cost, mainly in the reliability department. What was once considered to be a highly dependable Tesla is now facing mechanical compromises, one that isn't keeping its latest owners too happy. The Alfa Romeo Giulia. Alfa Romeo has always received a ton of flack compared to other Italian car manufacturers, but all the negative feedback from the Giulia has been wholeheartedly earned. Shortly after surpassing 1,500 miles on many of these tiny cars, things begin to go haywire. Owners have shared stories of lightly cruising down the road when out of nowhere the motor deteriorates. The engine starts making odd noises, and in some cases it full-on stalls. As any renowned auto riders and TV personalities have stated in the past, Alfas are great cars until they hit 20,000 miles. They could be great daily drivers, only if they had the reliability that the mainstream European cars have. We wouldn't put our money on Alfa, but the Giulia is probably one of the worst of them all. The Audi S4. Since 1994, Audi has been producing this compact executive sedan with over 349 horsepower and a 0 to 60 time of just 4.4 seconds. As good as this all sounds, and as aggressive as this car may look, this sedan can be very troublesome. For one, water leaks and drainage can be a bit of a problem with the S4. Water often pools in the cabin, originating from a faulty outflow pipe that is situated under the battery. This has a tendency to get blocked with leaves and other debris, which causes water to spill out into other areas of the car. Other fatal flaws include excessive oil consumption, defective brake lights, and a faulty automatic gearbox. The Jaguar XJ. The Jaguar XJ has had a traumatic history, and the continual shifting of Jaguar's ownership didn't seem to help sales much at all. In fact, under Ford, Jaguar didn't make any profits at all, which is why it was quickly sold to Tata Motors. So, each iteration of the XJ has been slightly different. However, the first generations of the XJ were the fault of the original Jaguar company. The result wasn't pretty. The exterior of the XJ has always attracted a number of buyers. The unexpected enthusiast may come across these luxury marvels thinking that the car is well made just because it's expensive. But sooner or later, buyers realize they dug themselves into a hole of no return. XJs in general are known to leave you stranded on the side of the road. Recent models have seemed to be better built, but many auto experts will argue that their price isn't always justifiable. No matter what year, you're gonna be burning money when you buy an XJ. The BMW 7 Series. The sharp-looking 7 Series was never built to last. Actually, the opposite is true. It's largely claimed that BMW made the 7 Series intentionally repair-prone. Whether the conspiracy is real or not, we know for a fact that the 7 Series is one troubled car. Almost anything on it is liable to fail. And the worst part is that since it was built mechanically complex, simple issues would take 10 times longer to repair, particularly if the mechanic doesn't specialize in BMW. And as anyone knows, the longer it takes to repair a car, the more expensive your bill comes. Even if you replace every single part on the car, you'll spend more than what the car is worth. Without someone handy to make constant repairs, the 7 Series won't last longer than a couple of years. The Maserati Quattroporte. The longevity of Maserati's cars has never really been a good selling point. The idea that high price equates to high quality engineering is a falsehood that Maserati will gladly perpetuate. Though the Quattroporte is claimed to be the least reliable of the manufacturer's current lineup, it's not too challenging to figure out why. Numerous customers have reported that this car has serious electrical glitches that hinder your ability to drive it anywhere. In many of those instances, the car has had less than 5,000 miles on it. It seems that this car is too far costly to drive. It isn't a worthy investment unless you're okay with not driving it half the time that you own it. The BMW 5 Series. BMW deserves a lot of credit for creating relatively well-made vehicles that have a good lifespan. From 2006 onward, the 5 Series has been considered BMW's least reliable line of vehicles. Many of the issues involve simple problems that will likely go unnoticed and create serious damage. For instance, some owners have experienced issues with the aluminum screws on the camshaft, causing the heads to break off easily and metal to spread throughout various parts. Others once were lucky when they found the true diagnosis. Regardless, the 5 Series cars do have a bad habit of leaving drivers with no engine mid-drive, which could be pretty dangerous. On average, those repairs cost about $2,500, but it's better to avoid the 5 Series altogether. The Volvo XC90. While the XC90 has cleaned up its act since 2016, we still don't recommend that you buy this vehicle, particularly since it's a luxury SUV that costs a bit more on average and consistently performs below average when compared to its competitors. Some issues include a number of electrical problems, including a low battery and failed alarm system, but it doesn't stop there. Many drivers have also lost power while driving down the road as well. What's really unnerving is how unsafe the X90 is, due to the high number of airbag recalls for the vehicle. Though the worst of them all is the brake failure that commonly occurred. Regardless, customers have higher expectations with Volvo, and the XC90 definitely didn't deliver. The Mercedes-Benz GLC. The Mercedes-Benz GLC doesn't come cheap, as you would have to part with $42,000 for a base model. It has a 2-liter inline turbo engine that produces 241 horsepower. The car can go from 0 to 60 in 6.4 seconds. The GLC has a 3-star overall rating when it comes to reliability. It may be a leader in design, and its interior may have that Mercedes-Benz finish, but looks don't make a car. The main issues that have been raised with the car are the brakes and the suspension. There have also been reported mechanical problems with the steering and the power equipment. Well guys, those are the 7 worst luxury cars only stupid people buy. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Also, if you'd like to see the channel, subscribe and put post notifications on. You could also follow the channel on Instagram at Modern Muscle YT. I'm Jeff from Modern Muscle, and I'll see ya next time.